Okay, so the England squad for the Rugby League Ashes has been announced. But before we go through the squad, quick announcement. I'm doing the video on my phone, not on my laptop, because Vodafone, my internet provider, has decided to have a nationwide outage this afternoon. So I'm using my mobile phone data, which means this video will not be as long as the previous video, which we did in regards to the Australian squad that's been announced. One thing that's not very noticeable, 7 NRL players in the squad and only 1 Warrington player in the squad, and no Hull FC players. So I found that quite interesting. There's a couple of Hull KR players in the squad, and not as many Wigan players as I thought there would be. St Helens has got a fair share of the squad as well. So let's dive into it and go from there. So John Bateman from the Cowboys in the NRL, he's been called up. There's a lot of people who think John Bateman's past his best, but he's in the squad. He's a feisty character. He will definitely be an agitator and definitely try and get under the skin of the Aussie forward pack. AJ Brimson of the Titans, he's declared his allegiance for England. That gives a couple of options in the halves, centres, and at fullback. Be interesting to see how Shaun Wane uses AJ Brimson. Now, Brimson, much like Bateman, some fitness issues have been a concern in recent seasons, but much like Bateman, hasn't played for a good month or so because the Titans, much like the Cowboys, did not make the top 8. So hopefully fully rested. Joe Burgess of Hull KR, fresh off a Challenge Cup, Super League Minor Premiership, and obviously the Super League Grand Final. Hull KR, they've had a brilliant season, and Joe Burgess fully deserves his call-up. Darryl Clark of St Helens, he's a mainstay with the squad. He's a very versatile player, and he's a key part of the leadership group. Herbie Farnworth, potentially, in my opinion, the best centre in the game for the Dolphins in the NRL. He's had his injury concerns. Hopefully he's over that hamstring strain, because I do think he is the best centre in the game. That's my personal opinion on that one. Ethan Harvard from Wigan, he's got a call up. Tom Johnston from Wakefield's got a call up. Morgan Knowles, who's just signed with the Dolphins in the NRL, he's got a call up. Matty Lees of St Helens, it's not his first call up. Mikey Lewis of Hull KR and Jez Litton of Hull KR both received call ups. They've had fantastic seasons, of course, in the Super League and also winning the Challenge Cup as well. Mike McKeon from Wakefield's had a call-up. Now, Wakefield have had a pretty good season, and I think that's a fully deserved call-up. Harry Newman of Leeds is one of a couple of Leeds players who've made the squad, and Leeds always produce really good international players. Mikolai Olejski of Leeds, I think I've pronounced his name correct, obviously of Polish origin. He's also got a call-up as well. Kai Pearce-Paul, who's just left the Newcastle Knights and gone to the West Tigers in the NRL. He has had his moments in the NRL where he's had some good play, but also some iffy play. But he brings that NRL experience. Rangy forward, quite a tall player. He's got a good offloading game. Harry Smith of Wigan's got a call up. Morgan Smith, he's with the Raiders, fresh off a minor premiership in the NRL. He's a very, very good player. I think he's an underrated forward. Owen Trout, the only Lee Leopards player in the squad. Alex Walmsley, he regularly gets called up to England. He's a mainstay with the squad these days. Jake Wardle, the Wigan player. And there are those saying that Shaun Wane still has his favouritism for Wigan players. So we'll see how these Wigan players that have been called into the squad perform. Obviously, with Hull KR beating them quite convincingly in the grand final. Let's hope that hasn't dented some of these players' confidence, but he's had a call-up. Callum Watkins, another Leeds player, he's not his first call-up to the men's side, England side. He's a pretty reliable performer for England when he has been called up. Jack Wellesby, now he does provide options in the halves and at fullback, so it'll be interesting to see who the starting fullback is. Obviously, with AJ Brimson in the squad. George Williams is the only Warrington player in the squad. He's also been named as captain by Shaun Wane. I find that very interesting. He will be returning to the NRL at some point, whether it's next season or the season after if there's an early release. Obviously, he'll be joining the Dolphins in the future. Obviously, he did have a previous stint with the Canberra Raiders in the NRL, didn't end on the best terms. And of course, Dom Young, who was at the Roosters, went back to the Knights in the NRL. He is known as a try scorer on that wing. but defensively and sometimes onto the high ball, it'd be a bit interesting. Now, I do find it interesting there's 7 NRL players in the squad. A fair mix of players, I will say that. There is a fair mix of players there around both the Super League and the NRL. And the fact that, there's two Wakefield players have made the squad. That hasn't happened for a while. And you've got a fair smattering from across the Super League and the NRL. It'd be an interesting matchup, especially with some of the NRL players who will have a lot of familiarity with their rivals in the Aussies squad. And of course, players like George Williams, who have played in the NRL, have a bit of knowledge about some of their opposition players. It's good to see players like Herbie Farnworth, though, make the squad, considering injury concerns. Bateman and AJ Brimson have had some injury concerns in the last couple of seasons, so their fitness could potentially be tested. But Herbie Farnworth has had a bit of time off, including with that hamstring injury, as has AJ Brimson and John Bateman. So it'd be really interesting to see if they can hit the ground running and really contribute with this side. I do apologise again for recording the video on my mobile phone, but I have, as I say, no internet because Vodafone has decided to have a nationwide blackout and shit itself as a network. So not the first time Vodafone's done this year, but I think the third time the Vodafone internet has gone down. So I'm spending 30 quid a month on something that's unreliable because it's the joys of being British and being ripped off. But there we go. Thank you very much for putting up with the mobile phone footage, and hopefully the internet starts working soon, because I'm going to go mad if it doesn't. But for me, for now, thank you very much for watching, and I will have some more content for you all very, very soon.